Everybody, this is Dr. Bill Janishek, and welcome back to the Conquering Stress podcast. As recording this today, this is May, and it's Fitness Month. And it's really interesting as a doctor that we have health and fitness, and a lot of times they put these things together, and they don't always do that. Some people are very healthy and maybe not very fit, and some people that look really fit are not really healthy. So we like to combine those things together. But specifically this time, I really want to delve in the next couple videos on fitness. There's different types of it. People they have like a one size fits all deal that's going on. And I want to talk about the types of fitness, the types of works out, because people are used to like gym bro stuff and Globo gyms and back and bis, chest and tris, legs and abs. But we are living in the world of AI. We are living in the world of science and technology and stuff. And that is not lost on fitness. And I want to highlight not only my neighbor over in Yorba Linda, but an innovator in the space. And I want to introduce Simone Lecomte. She's the owner of the Smart Fit Method in Yorba Linda. She's a health coach. She is passionate about the things that she does and helping people do everything they can. But I wanted to bring you on because what you do is so freaking exciting. And you have a history as a health coach. How many years have you been a health coach?
Since 2020, so 4 years now.
So 25, you became certified, and you've just been in the health and fitness space for how long? What's your history with that?
So I would say I have a very unofficial history as being a self-proclaimed fitness fanatic. And when the kids were little, I have teenage boys. And when they were little, I was always kind of known as that hippie mom with my little homemade baby food wherever we went, or, whatever it was. And, if somebody had health questions, they would always come to me. And so it was around 2020 that I found out, oh, wait, this can be a job, like this can be a whole career. I'm not listening to all these podcasts and reading all these health studies just for me, like, cool. So I went ahead and got certified, and yeah, I haven't looked back.
Well, I mean, that's awesome. That's usually when people say that they're unofficial, we got so much education that we can get just by being aware. You learn one thing that opens a rabbit hole, you kind of crawl down the rabbit hole, you use your experience, you've got this things going, like, I don't think any time in history we've had more access to information, and at the very same time we've had the least direction. And I think
it's very confusing.
Well, it is, and that's why you kind of need a coach and a place to go. But I'm really interested in, because I went by your facility and I'm like, Smart Fit Method? No, is this the new Tybo or something new or what it is? And I went over and I was so impressed by the facility that you have, because I'm like you. I'm a science guy, but I'm a hippie guy. So like you can find me grounding and stretching and meditating and talking about the quantum. And I got some patchouli and some tie-dye around and whatever. But the other side of the brain is going, okay, what's the pathway? What's the mechanism? What we're doing? What's our lactic acid threshold? How's our recovery rate going? How much of our VO2 max is going? And what's the ratios? And I think you got to have that balance in going on. But the Smart Fit Method, tell me the story, how you found that.
Well, as a health coach, I would say all my clients have been over 40 as a health coach, because there's this point, right, where you hit a wall, you figure it out, like, okay, I've tried XYZ diets, I've tried XYZ workout, I've tried all this stuff, none of it's working, I feel sick, I feel my energy level is low, my health isn't great, like, I need help, right? And so as I'm seeing this, this person often, there needed to be some sort of a resistance training component in addition to whatever they were doing. I think that that's just so important for health and longevity. Human beings we're built to move heavy things and walk long distances. And I can get people to walk long distances, but moving heavy things is really a barrier for people, and especially women that have never done it before. Resistance training, getting them to go to a big box gym for the first time and walk into that environment with 20-year-olds taking selfies is like not happening.
Intimidating, right?
It's a very intimidating for people. And so along my journey of constantly reading and researching, I came across some equipment called ARX. So that's adaptive resistance training equipment, and it's AI driven resistance training equipment. And I did a little deep dive on that stuff, and I was just blown away, because this is, I think, the San Francisco 49ers, which is a football team, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, they keep up. Come on here.
Yeah, I'm not a big sports ball person, but I'm pretty sure. They put a bunch of these ARX equipment into their facility, their fitness facility, because it's amazing for helping the elite athlete get a little bit more. But I'm looking at this equipment and I'm thinking, okay, but there's no impact. You don't deal with weights. It meets you where you are in your right now today. And so this has got great potential for a deconditioned population, a population with osteopenia and osteoporosis that just needs to put muscle mass on to help their bone density. There's this huge potential here. And so that's when I started looking into, okay, can this be something that is used commercially?
Yeah. And it's interesting because the ARX system and it's the perfect thing for rehab. And I know that in baseball, I'm a baseball guy, is they use it with people with Tommy John surgery, because it is meeting them where they're at on what type. You can continue to work out while you're rehabbing, not getting the atrophy as you're weighing it down. But
correct.
The interesting thing is that's not where it stops in your facility.
Yeah.
You got blood flow restricted training. I want you to tell everybody exactly what that is and what's the benefit of it.
Okay, so that piece of equipment, and actually, for our baseball fans, that piece of equipment is called the Vasper, and it's being used a lot by professional baseball players because of all that repetitive use injury stuff that they get going on in that shoulder. And they'll get injured, use it, and it'll help them get back on the field faster. And I'll explain why. So it was built in conjunction with NASA. And it's on the New Step platform, which is used in spinal recovery centers. So it's zero impact on your joints. And you're basically doing a HIIT workout on this equipment. There's a cooling factor, keeping your whole body temperature low. But the blood flow restriction is kind of the magical component. So we have these blood pressure cuffs basically on your big muscles, your quads. So we put them on your legs and then also on your biceps around your arms. And as you're doing this workout, you start almost immediately feeling that lactic acid buildup. So that kind of, that painful feeling of like, oh, I'm working out. Yeah, that burn. And, but because the blood flow restriction cuffs are cooled, so we have 45-degree water circulating through them throughout the entire workout, you're able to really work through that state of lactate more than you normally would be able to. So now you get this nice lactic acid buildup, which says to your brain, hey, they've done a lot of damage. There's a lot of muscle that must be broken down. And your brain releases IGF-1. So this is human growth factor, and this is a repair molecule. So now, in the instance of these wonderful baseball players who get this repetitive use injury, we didn't actually break down muscle tissue to that extent. So now this IGF-1 can go and repair this shoulder injury. It can repair, your old knee injury that you've had, or a back thing, or, whatever your body is going through. Now you have this IGF-1 that's just going to repair. Or if you're feeling fine and you're just working out here in the gym and you have an ARX day where, you go for it and you break down that muscle tissue, then you get on the Vasper and now you have this IGF-1 and you're just recovering faster. And the lovely thing about it is that when that IGF-1 is increased, naturally, just hormonal balance in the body, cortisol comes down. So now you sleep better, you recover better. Like it's just it's really, really an amazing piece of equipment.
So when we're starting to get back into the science is we're using the physiology science that we know with cutting edge technology in doing the workouts. So we're not killing ourselves in the gym. I love going to the gym. I love hearing the weights crack and there's that component of it. But some people don't like that. And some people, like you said, they don't want to go to the gym with everybody looking. And other people are just damn busy now. And so I want to get in, I want to get out. And 21-minute workout 3 times a week. And you're optimizing your body's natural processes anyways. These are the things that were made to grow on. There's another thing that you guys do is with the VO2 Max and the bike. Can you explain how that works?
Yeah, so that's another really amazing piece of equipment in here. It's actually 2 pieces of equipment that we combine into one workout. And so that is our Carol bike, and Carol is an AI-driven resistance bike. So basically, when you get on and ride, there's no dial to change the resistance. So you can't do that on your own. She's in charge. And through 18 different data points, she's learning you and your fitness level, and then she builds that workout for you. Now, while you're on that ride, we actually put LiVO2 oxygen on you. So we put an oxygen mask on you, and we're feeding you 90% oxygen. So normally we're breathing about 21% oxygen right now in the air. So we give you that 90. The oxygen flowing is so amazing. It's amazing for helping a disease state. It's amazing for recovery. It's good for brain health. It's good for fat oxidation, ATP. I mean, energy, like there's not a whole lot oxygen isn't going to help in your body, right? So good for us.
Kind of important. It's kind of important as we go through.
It does feel important. And so then we actually take you apoxic for 3 different minutes throughout your, 20-minute workout. And so we're taking you down to 14% oxygen. And what this does is it creates this environment in your body where everything kind of opens up. Every cell, every capillary is just kind of like, hey, give us the oxygen. And then when you go back to 90, everything's open. And the oxygen uptake is just amazing. And they've done studies on it, showing that after a workout, your cognition is actually better.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a neuro guy. And I'm all about the brain. The brain is mostly capillary action, and like even in disease, pre-Alzheimer's, brain fog, depression, anxiety, and all that all has to do with we're not getting enough oxygen and nutrients into the little nooks and crannies of the brain. Yeah. And this is why, one of the reasons why fitness and movement and types of movements and variety of motion and optimum motion is so important. People always want the gym bodies and they want that, but the biggest thing in exercise is keeping track of that brain, because that brain holds everything that you can. The aesthetics, to me, and what I try to tell people as well, is secondary, tertiary at best. But why not get all the benefits and all the eye candy that you can while you're working out? And I just think it's so efficient, and we're using physiology to our advantage. So that's great. We've got a lot of technology. You're all happy about it. I'm all happy about it. But is it bullshit? Is it placebo? What kind of results are you getting?
Well, we do have a body scanner, a Fit 3D body scanner in here. And so on your first appointment, on your first day here, we scan you and we scan you every 28 days thereafter. And so we're actually showing our clients measurable results. But I'll tell you, the stuff that really excites me is, we had a member, this is one of my favorite members, but in the beginning, he had been working out here 1 month. So this was his second scan, 28 days later. We scanned him and we were going, he actually had, really good results. And so we were stoked and going over it with him, like, Ron, look at this, you've lost this much body fat percentage. We put muscle on you in 28 days. This is phenomenal. And he looked at me, he goes, Simone, that's really great. He goes, but I'll tell you what, 28 days ago, if I got on the ground, I couldn't get up by myself. And today I can. That's life-changing. That's, losing 20 pounds is great. And it's good for your health and it's good for your brain. But getting mobility back, being able to do things that you lost physically, that's life-changing. That's what I'm doing here. That's what I love. That's what lights me up is really, really helping people get back to health, get back to longevity, get back to movement, being able to walk up 3 flights of stairs without having to stop in the middle. That's stuff that when you're in your 60s and your 70s and your 80s and you lose that, then you realize how valuable it was. And then you don't give a crap about a beach body anymore. You just want that function back, And so that's the really cool part about what I get to do here at the gym.
Well, and I think that's the cool thing that all us geeks that are passionate about, because we know what's on the other side of effort. And sometimes the effort looks so big and it's like that. But when you have someone like yourself that you can hold their hand and they can borrow your confidence and they can borrow that things when you get to lead them through that and they get on the other side, they're like a 10-year-old at Disneyland the first time says, oh my God. And they start going, I can walk. Because what happens, what I notice is people die inside first. And because movement for most people, they make the old man sound, oh, hey, when they get up and down and they have this, oh, but it doesn't stop me from doing anything. It's okay. It's just like that. I just need some. And they stop doing something. And then pretty soon they don't go up 3 flights of stairs. And then it's only 2. Then it's bothersome, but then they gain weight. And so they're not as mobile. So then they don't wear their good clothes anymore. They wear those sweats that they can just slip on. And then they go from shoes to slippers to I'm going to go to the movies to I'm not going to go to the movies. I'm going to rent something. And their life starts getting smaller.
Yeah.
And, I'm a body guy and I'm all about fitness and health. But the only reason that we have a meat suit is to carry our dreams and our memories and our the things that we're doing. But if you can't get on the floor and play with your child or your grandchild, or you can't make it up the hill to the wedding chapel to see your granddaughter get married or your best friend, or I had a patient, he had to take his mom to his dad's gravesite. And it was, on a hill and she's in a wheelchair and he couldn't push it up the slight grade because his knees hurt and his back hurt and he was out of breath. And all she wanted to do, she could see the gravesite and he couldn't do it. He said, Mom, I can't. And so she's crying because she can't. And it's those little things that fitness and health and that you're helping people do. And I really appreciate that because that's the juice of life.
It really is.
And I tell people like all the time, because with the chiropractic, I said, stay on this. This is not a back cracking, get rid of your back pain. But when we're adjusting you when you're asymptomatic that year after, you find your life gets bigger, that you will pick up new hobbies, you'll have more energy, you get up early, you make more money because you have the energy that you really didn't even notice that you lost. Like
Yeah.
with that client that you had, did you know that he couldn't get up if he got back down by himself?
I didn't know that when he started working out here.
Yeah.
No.
And most of the things that people can't do, they don't talk about because it's like, oh well, I can't walk up the stairs, so I'll just leave the stuff on the stairs and wait for the housekeeper to bring it upstairs on that. Or I know with males, when they start getting unfit, they start losing other things that are really important to them, especially when they're younger, because they either don't have the energy or the capacity. Another blood flow.
Yeah, blood flow is huge, right? Yeah.
And it's not even about the mechanical act of like sex or anything, but they lose intimacy, and it goes
Hmm.
back into, okay, now your relationships are breaking down, all because of a lack of fitness. So it's very interesting to me, on at the very same time that we have AI, we have Instacart, and we have everything at our disposal,
Yeah.
that we are the sickest as a country, as a society. There's a 70% increase in type 2 diabetes over the last 30 years.
Crazy. All the access,
Yeah, and
Yeah.
three quarters of the population is overweight or obese. 80% of the population takes an average of 3 or 4 medications. I don't take any. So someone's taking my share as part of that average.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
7 medications is not an unusual thing for me to run into in health coaching. And the 7th is always an antidepressant, the last one.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you go back in the history, it'll start out with, there's a 70% increase in type 2 diabetes over the last 30 years.
Crazy. All the access,
Yeah. And
Yeah.
three quarters of the population is overweight or obese. 80% of the population takes an average of 3 or 4 medications. I don't take any. So someone's taking my share as part of that average.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
7 medications is not an unusual thing for me to run into in health coaching. And the 7th is always an antidepressant, the last one.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you go back in the history, it'll start out with a high cholesterol medication, and that turns into metformin for the insulin stuff. Then now they're adding in the GLP inhibitors with Ozempic and all these other things, and that's causing, gut issues. So then you're going to do the Zantac, and the Zantac, and it just goes on and on. And without movement, without being able to counteract anything, there's depression, anxiety. It's
Yes.
nuts.
And I'm sure that you saw this, but there was a recent study that came out that was talking all about the correlation between exercise and depression and anxiety, and showing that exercise was more effective in combating depression and anxiety than all these SSRIs and, anti-anxiety medications and, all of that.
Yeah, it was twice as effective. But like we've known that.
Right.
And
anybody that's done it, anybody that's doing it knows that, right? We know that.
And the interesting thing is some people, and this is why I think that the Smart Fit method is so good, because like some people can't exercise because they've blown their knee out, or their spine's decayed so much, and they're overweight and they can't get out of it. So it hurts them to do that. So having something like what you got going on, where you don't have to move the joint, it meets them at their specific
exactly
threshold. And that's what, I tell everybody, I said, we need to do high intensity exercise. I said, but high intensity is relative. Mine's different than yours, and yours might be fill the tub, pull the plug, and fight the current. And that might be where you're at now. And somebody else might be like, well, I've got a PR my triathlon to
Right.
put that on. But it's wherever you're at. But it's a missing component that we have. And I think it's amazing the not only the work that you're doing, the facility that you've made, because you can't even really compare. I don't like calling your place a gym because it's not really a gym, because it's I don't even know how you describe it. It's almost like
I've been playing with longevity studio.
Longevity studio, get your life back studio, confidence builder, a life-changing thing. I don't know. Maybe we'll have to figure out something. So if anybody's listening to that, if you're a patient listening to this and I've given this to you, you can walk across the street and go look at the Smart Fit method, and we can do that. If you're listening to this online, if you've heard me in a talk or another podcast or going, and you're just scrolling and you're binge watching the information we have, look it up. We're going to have this in the show notes, and to keep everything going, because, well, one more thing I want to add before we close up is we've kind of framed this with AI and using technology. I want everybody to be clear that the machines aren't going to do the work for you. There's nothing that's going to get your body to adapt better than you putting in the effort. So, while this is a simple method, because the way you guys are built, it's like a concierge almost, right?
Yeah, we have personal trainers in here. Yep. Yeah. You make your appointment, you walk in the door, there's a personal trainer to greet you. They set the equipment up for you. They do all the software. You don't have to come in and learn 3 new softwares or anything like that. I would not do that to people. Yeah, that's awful. They do everything for you, and then they help you through the movements. They give you a little loving encouragement as well. And then at the end of your workout, you can sit by our biocharger and get a little extra love from that. It's a great recovery tool. And one of my trainers will bring you either an electrolyte beverage or an espresso, or, just a glass of water, just to help you, finish it out nicely and go on your way.
Yeah. You know what? One more thing I want you to cover too is, what is the biocharger?
The biocharger is a very, very cool piece of equipment. So that is just a recovery tool, and it's just an extra for our members. You can come in 15 minutes early and you just sit within 6 feet of it, and it does its magic. So it's a box, and it has some lights on it, and it looks over. Is it giving off negative ions? Is this PEMF? So in the base of it, it does have PEMF. It has the little Tesla coil at the top. So actually electricity, like giving off energy. It has noble gases in these little vials all around it. It's emitting a sound and light frequency. And so basically you combine all that together, and what you have is it's recreating nature in this little, I kind of like a vitamin D tablet, right? Like you would take a pill of vitamin D. This is almost like your vitamin Earth. It's condensed, right? So you sit by it for 15 minutes, and you get the same benefit as being in nature for 4 hours. And none of us are in nature enough. And we should be, where that's, again, something that, as you like to call it, our meat suits. It's part of what we were made to do, and we don't do enough of it. And so for 15 minutes, you can get 4 hours of that. And, you just feel great when you get up.
And it's great. So anybody that's listening to that, I think you've seen my grounding episode where I invite everybody to sprinkle on patchouli and grab their crystals and their tie-dye and take off their Birkenstocks and go walking in nature. And as I always talk, grounding is very important, because the earth is a giant magnet, and with a giant magnet, it gives off the negative ions. And the negative ions are healing, they're calming, they're parasympathetic, gets you out of that fight or flight thing that you're going. And then the way that they conclude the their workout is by giving you that effect. So you've let me just make sure we've done this right. You've made your appointment, everything's been set up right. And based on whether you're doing an upper body, a lower body, or a cardio day, you have one specific machine that's AI driven, that has all your metrics, meets you at your specific needs, has your goals in mind. You've had your pre-diagnostics of your body composition, everything else that's going on. You have a bit of a history on each person. You've designed that all in there. They've run in a 20-minute, 21-minute workout that's going on that kicks your ass to your level.
Yeah.
However high your ass is from the ground on that. And you will continually do that because it will grow with you. It'll show you your progression. It'll show you when you're dipping down, where you may need more sleep, if you got out of your lifestyle things, where you can make corrections in this thing. Once you finish over like that, you want to shoot your personal trainer that's there because they've gone, but you feel great going over. You sit outside in a community around that's doing that, if you wish to be around a community, and you have this grounding machine where it imbibes you with the negative ions of the earth to help increase everything else. I think that's amazing. And so anybody listening that has had either challenges with other gyms, doesn't quite know what to do, you want to have the computer run your metrics, you want to make sure that you're not just feeling good, but you're actually getting better. Get over and do the Smart Fit method in Yorba Linda, and we'll get that going. Anything you want to tell us in closing?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've said it all. If anything, in closing, I would say just keep moving, because if you don't use it, you lose it, and that's just real life, and we all need to be very, very acutely aware of that. So just keep moving.
Yeah, and I think that's a perfect way to close it out. And I want to go back over and just kind of reiterate what Simone said was, if you don't use it, you do lose it. And that's not just a saying, because once it's gone, and the ability to walk around in the park or use the bathroom by yourself, or being afraid to get down on the floor and not be able to get up and be kind of helpless. It's just a progression that goes through. But you start now when you're healthy, when you have something to work with, and you won't believe your abilities once you've done that. But it's not only that, it's once you get there, you crave more and you want to do more. And so movement, health, and fitness should be one of the biggest priorities in your life. Maslow has his hierarchy of needs. And once you have your food and your shelter, the next, you've got to have your health. And then you can move up and you can do anything you want. So we stay healthy so we can move our meat suit around, so that we can go over and enjoy life, and not only enjoy our own life, but be a blessing to anybody else that you come in contact with. And just like, the old adage, when you're in a plane, if you got someone with you, you've got to save yourself first. And so I highly recommend that you get as fit as you can, and whatever that is. I wanted to introduce you to the Smart Fit method and Simone, because it's amazing. It's cutting edge. It's that science that we need. Why not take the technology and the knowledge that we have at this time to go out and use it? So if you can do blood flow restriction and get that growth factor in there to make you feel great, if you can oxygenate your body and hyperoxygenate it, and do this all in 20 minutes, and then recovery like you've been walking around in a forest for 4 hours, kind of a no-brainer. But go out and do this. But I'm going to close out. Dr. Bill Janishek, your Belinda Family Chiropractic. This is the Conquering Stress podcast, and thanks for checking us out.